Imagine standing on a windswept hill in southeastern Anatolia, far removed from any modern civilization. Beneath your feet lies dust that hasn't been disturbed for over 11,000 years. But this hill is not of natural origin. It is a grave. Yet it does not bury humans. It buries a truth that could reduce our entire history to ashes. Welcome to Hidden Origins. Today we penetrate the darkest heart of archaeology. We are talking about Karahan Tepe. If you thought Göbekli Tepe was the ultimate mystery of mankind, you haven't seen its dark sister site yet. Karahan Tepe is not just a ruin, it is an anomaly, hidden in the sands of time, deliberately, systematically, and with a precision that makes us shudder. We find ourselves in the year 11,000 BC, the end of the last ice age. Official history tells us that humans at this time were simple hunter-gatherers. They had no permanent dwellings, no complex religion, and certainly no knowledge of monumental architecture or astronomy. But Karahan Tepe proves the opposite. Here, hundreds of T-shaped pillars were carved directly out of the massive limestone bedrock. But it isn't the pillars alone that should give us pause. It is the sheer impossibility of their construction. Who, 12,000 years ago, possessed the logistics to move multi-ton monoliths, while the rest of the world was allegedly still living in caves? To understand Karahan Tepe, we must first look at the broader context of the region now known as Tas Tepeler, the Stone Hills. This is a network of 12 prehistoric sites scattered across the Haran Plain. Karahan Tepe is the crown jewel of this network. While Göbekli Tepe was a temple of light and circular enclosures, Karahan Tepe feels more intimate, more grounded, and perhaps more sinister. The precision with which these people worked the stone is a slap in the face to modern archaeological theories. They didn't just stack rocks, they understood the very soul of the mountain. They carved three-dimensional sculptures directly into the bedrock, not attached, but part of the earth itself. This requires a level of spatial planning and artistic mastery that we only attribute to civilizations thousands of years later. Let us go deeper into the center of this madness. Archaeologists have uncovered a room there that shatters everything we thought we knew about ritual architecture. It is the so-called Hall of Phalli. 11 giant columns were chiseled into the floor of this room, directly from the living bedrock. They stand there like petrified guardians of a forgotten era. But that is not the most disturbing part. On the western wall of this room looms a massive human head. It wasn't simply placed there, it is part of the mountain itself. Its eyes stare fixedly into the room, its nose is prominent, its lips tightly sealed. It feels as if this head is looking into our world from another dimension. What was the purpose of this place? We see channels carved through the rock. Liquid, presumably water or perhaps something more ritualistic, was specifically directed through the mouth of this head or over the columns. Was it a fertility ritual? Or a technological installation whose meaning we can no longer understand today? In the world of hidden origins, we ask the questions that mainstream science does not dare to speak aloud. Could it be that these 11 columns and the single head represent an astronomical constellation? If we look at the sky of 9,500 BC, we see alignments that align perfectly with the stars of Orion or the Pleiades. Recent investigations suggest that Karahan Tepe was aligned with the winter solstice. A shard of light, a thin beam of the rising sun, penetrated through a precisely carved hole in the rock and illuminated exactly the face of the stone giant. This is no coincidence. This is engineering at the highest level, 11,000 years before the invention of the wheel. But let us talk about the who. Who were these people? Mainstream archaeologists call them the pre-pottery Neolithic A culture, a sterile name for a group of people who possessed a global human code. Look at the artifacts. Look at the figures. We see carvings of foxes, scorpions, and vultures. But we also see something impossible: the handbags of the gods. These small, square-handled bags appear in the carvings of Karahan Tepe. They are identical to the carvings found in ancient Sumeria thousands of years later, and identical to the stone handbags held by the gods of the Olmecs and Mayans in Mesoamerica. How can the same specific, non-functional item appear in the hands of gods on 3 different continents across 10,000 years of history? Is this proof of a master civilization? A group of civilizers who traveled the globe after a great cataclysm to restart humanity? This brings us to the Younger Dryas impact theory. Around 12,800 years ago, the Earth was struck by a series of comet fragments. The North American ice sheet melted instantly, causing massive flooding and a sudden, brutal plunge back into Ice Age conditions. This was the Great Flood of legend. Karahan Tepe was built in the immediate aftermath of this disaster. Was it a survival bunker? A center for the preservation of agricultural and architectural knowledge? The sheer effort required to build these sites suggests a desperate need to anchor themselves to the stars and the Earth. But the greatest mystery of Karahan Tepe is not what was built there. It is what happened afterward. Around 8000 BC, something incredible occurred. The inhabitants of this place did not simply decide to leave. They decided to obliterate Karahan Tepe. But they didn't burn it. They didn't destroy it. They buried it. Systematically, thousands of tons of fine sand and earth were brought in. Every single pillar, every statue, the Hall of Phalli, and the mysterious head were carefully filled in. It was a monumental act of preservation. Why would a culture undertake such an effort to hide its most sacred sites from the eyes of the world? Did they want to protect knowledge from an approaching catastrophe? Or was the place so dangerous, so charged with an unknown energy, that it had to be sealed for all eternity? Think about the implications. If you bury a time capsule, you do it because you want someone in the future to find it. Karahan Tepe was a message in a bottle, cast into the ocean of time. And we are the ones who just opened it. When we look at the human face discovered in 2023, we are looking at the face of our ancestors, or perhaps our teachers. This head bears no resemblance to the nomadic tribes we were taught inhabited this area. It has a high brow, a straight bridge of the nose, and deep, sunken eyes that suggest a life of intense observation. It looks like a visionary. The mainstream academy ignores the technological anomalies. They ignore the fact that the stone was worked with a hardness that suggests more than just flint tools. They ignore the acoustic properties of these chambers. Experiments have shown that these rooms resonate at a frequency of 110 hertz, a frequency known to shift human brain activity into a meditative, trance-like state. This wasn't just a place of worship. It was a place of psychological and physiological transformation. A machine made of stone. As we continue the work at Tas Tepeler, more sites like Karahan Tepe and Safer Tepe are coming to light. They all follow the same blueprint. They all point to a lost chapter of human history that has been systematically erased. If we accept Karahan Tepe for what it is, we have to rewrite every textbook in the world. We have to admit that the rise of civilization was not a slow, linear crawl from the mud. It was a cycle of greatness, destruction, and forgetting. In Karahan Tepe, the snake, a universal symbol for knowledge, is everywhere. In many myths, the serpent people brought agriculture and laws to the survivors of the flood. Are we looking at the headquarters of these serpents of wisdom? The alignment with the winter solstice, the resonance of the chambers, the global handbags, all of these are pieces of a puzzle that we are only now beginning to solve. We are looking at a forgotten science, a science of the earth and the sky that was buried by those who knew that the truth was too powerful for the coming ages of darkness. What will be found next? Only 5% of Karahan Tepe has been excavated. Beneath the mounds of Anatolia, there are rooms yet to be opened, secrets yet to be whispered. The head in the wall is watching us. He has been waiting in the dark for 11,000 years. He is waiting for us to wake up, to realize that we are not the masters of our history, but the amnesiac children of a giant that we are just beginning to remember. The seal has been broken. The past is calling. And hidden origins will be there to answer. Stay vigilant, stay critical, and never forget, the past is not what it seems to be. We are hidden origins, and we are just getting started.